What's up, guys? So let's do the wireless LAN network, right? Like this is my YouTube channel. As you know that last time we had a video whereby we were going through the tutorials of how to navigate through the packet tracer, where to find the devices, how to connect the devices together. So that's what we're doing, right? So now I just want us to go through how to configure a wireless LAN network, right? Let's say you've been hired by, or you have a client that's requesting you to build a wireless network. Maybe they're gonna be they're having like a project whereby it will only last for maybe 3 months, and then in that 3 months space of time they want to have like a wireless network, so that when they dismantle everything it will be easy for them like to just build a network, and also when they're dismantling time it's easy for them just to remove that entire network out of that space. So the requirements are coming from the client are that we need to build a wireless network, right? So all of these people are going to be using a wireless network. So which devices are we going to need in order for us to be able to build this, so people can access the internet, people can access resources in a server, share information in this type of network that we're built now, right? So now is wireless, and then on a later stage we're going to go through what we call a VLANs, right, whereby we're going to be logically separating networks. But for now, let's focus on the client's requirements, right? So we need to make some money, so this is the requirements coming from the client. So number one device that we're going to need, we said, I think we're going to need like a server, right, for this network. So you all know now where to find the server, how to add the server to this topology. So we're looking for the end devices. Just click on the end devices there, and then you will see a server at the top there, right? So we got ourselves a server, and then what else do we need? We need a switch, right? A switch, that's the one that's going to interconnect the devices that we're going to have in this network. So we're going to add a wireless LAN controller, we're going to add light access point, right, like the LAPs, and then so we're going to be done just now, right? So let's go through. I think this thing will take us maybe 15 minutes, will be done, and then yeah, I mean that's the network that I'm building right now. So let's see how it goes, right? So we have added a server, and then the next thing that we want to add is a switch. We said a switch is the one that we're going to use to interconnect all of these different devices that we're going to have here. And then there's the switches, any type of switches that you want. You click there, you find different switches, multi-layer switch, different types of switches. And then the hubs, you find the different types of hubs under that icon there. And then we have the wireless LAN controller. Now the wireless LAN controller that I need is a 3504. So I'm going to be using one 3504 wireless LAN controller. And then I need a PC that I'm going to use to control or to configure this wireless LAN controller. So I'm going to add one PC to my network. And then I will also need, like, let's say maybe the lightweight access point, maybe 3 of them, because these, they say now the building where we are configuring these devices, or where we're adding these devices, it is 3 floors. So now all of these wireless access points are going to be situated or located in these 3 different floors. So we're going to place all these 3 lightweight access point in those 3 floors, right? So that's what we're doing here now. And then all these people are going to be using laptops, so they're going to be using tablets. So there is a laptop, I'm gonna add a laptop there, I'm gonna add like a tablet to this network. There is a tablet, I'm gonna add a smartphone, because these are the devices that we'll be using to connect to this network, right? So we have all that in this network. Okay, so now we need a network, right, that represent this entire area. Okay, one more thing before I go, before I get too excited, let me add a router. You all know what a router is, right? It's the gateway, the one that takes you out of your own network to the internet. So we need maybe one router there. All right, so most people, they say when the network is wireless, they think that there's no wired cables that are running in that network. So your network might be wireless, right? But one or the other on the background, there might be like few cables that are connecting the main devices that give you access to the wireless network, that give you access to the internet. So of which the lightweight access point might be connected to my switch, the wireless LAN controller is connected to my switch, the server is connected to my switch, the router is connected to my switch, using a medium or a cable called the Ethernet cable. So these guys, my users, what they would experience is a wireless network. So, but on the background there, on the server room, or on the structure or the layout of the network, there will be some cables that are really running to connect all of these devices together. All right. So there is the icon there for the cables that you might need to connect these devices. All right. There we go. Then the devices are connected, and then I have another device there, switch to the wireless LAN controller, which is a 3504, and then that switch to that PC there, the one that I'm going to use to manage that wireless LAN controller. All right, and then I got a router there, the one that's going to take us out of our own network to the internet. All right, that's cool. Okay, then let's plug in the lightweight access points. I got my access points plugged in. They have the cables connected, and then I have this on the side there. All right, cool. So now we said we need a network, right? So let me write down the network that we're going to use. 192.168.100.1, right? Slash, no, not 1, 0, slash 24. That's the network, right? So all of the devices that we're going to assign IP addresses, they will be getting the IP addresses from that network. So the range will be within that slash 24. Yeah, so and then my server, I will want my server to be as 100.1, and then my router, maybe I usually give the router the last IP address, the last available IP address from the range that I'm working on. Yeah, so on this part it will be a 254, right? So my router is going to be a 192.168.100.254, right? So this is going to be our configurations on this network. All right. So I want to start with the server, right? The server, we have different servers that we have in our network. You might have like a DHCP server, a web server, FTP server. So we have like different types of servers in our network. So now what I want to do is I want to configure a DHCP server. Right, so a DHCP server, the use or the role of a DHCP server in your network is to automatically assign IP addresses to devices that we have in our network. So instead of you as a network administrator manually assigning IP addresses to these different devices that we have, what you can do is you configure one DHCP server and then create a range there on that DHCP server so that all the devices that connect to your network, they dynamically receive or automatically receive an IP address, which make things easy for you. Like, yeah, instead of you going through the tedious work like of manually assigning all devices in your network IP addresses, the DHCP, you just leave that to the DHCP to facilitate the issuing out of IP addresses. So that's the main use of a DHCP in our network, right? So there will be a time whereby we go through the in-depth of the DHCP. What is it? How does DHCP issue out IP addresses? What do you need to configure? Things like that. But now I'm only interested in the configuration of the wireless LAN control wireless LAN network, right? So this is what we're going through. Okay, without wasting much of the time, let me go straight to the root, to the server. There's my server, and then you can see we have different tabs there. We have the physical. So this physical part is whereby when you want to add different cards to this server, right? So you can add different card to the server. For an example, we have all these, the host, NMIC, maybe want to add a wireless connection to this server. You can just drag it and maybe add it to any part of that, right? So this is the physical part. And then the configurations, this is whereby you can also assign IP addresses to these interfaces. Maybe if you want to assign IP address to that interface, you can do that. And then services, as you know that the DHCP, the server, it can work as an HTTP server, DHCP server, DHCP v6 server, and all of these services that we have here. So we're going to configure all of these, right? So now I'm really interested in the assigning of IP. I want to start with assigning an IP address to this server, right? So what I will do is I just want to check. I want to show you the IP, the port numbers of these interfaces. So what I will do is, as you can see now, I'm not even sure. I don't know what port number is this. What port is this on the router? So what you can do, if you can't see the port in your topology, what you can do is you go to options, and then under options there is a feature called preferences, and then on preferences you can check this that says always show port labels in logical workspace, so that you know which port are you assigning IP address to. So you can see now it's a gig 0/0. Here it's an F0, right? So I know which port am I assigning an IP address to. So this is the portal of my server, right? I'm on the desktop, and then I want to assign the server an IP address. There it is, right? And then we have two options here: the DHCP and then the static. So I want to start with the static, right? I want to manually assign an IP address to this. So the difference between static and DHCP, static is whereby you are manually assigning an IP address to a device of which that IP address doesn't change. But a DHCP usually it lists IP addresses to devices, of which it means that it borrows the IP address to different devices that you have in your network, right? So what that means, there's a given time frame that PC or that device can use the specific IP address for. So if that time reaches, then the DHCP has to renew, or the device has to ask for renewing that IP address, or just to remove that IP address. But that's what DHCP does. Like it lists an IP address. So you can also renew IP addresses, renew the list of the IP address. But for now, I am manually assigning the IP address to the server. All right. 192.168. Let's say 100.1, right? And then the subnet mask is a /24, which means it's a 255.255.255.0, right? And then the default gateway, so we have a router there. My default gateway will be 192.168.100.254. As I said, that I prefer assigning my router the last available IP address in my network, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing, right? I'm going to be assigning that way. 192.168.100.1 DNS server. So this server is going to be the DNS server. That's why I'm assigning that 100.1 again on the DNS server push platform there, because this server is going to act as a DHCP server and also as a DNS server. So that's why I'm assigning that IP address there. Right? So DNS server is just like the domain name service, right? Like when you type in facebook.com, the systems, they have to convert that into an IP address, which is every domain name is an IP address. So the DNS has to convert that into an IP address. Cool. That's sorted down there. All right. Now, the next thing that I need will be I want to go to services, right? Configure DHCP so that it can automatically assign IP addresses to my devices. All right. Now, the next thing is when it comes to DHCP, right? You got to start with the switching on the service, right? By default, it is off. So I've seen most people, they go ahead, start assigning, typing in the default gateway, the DNS server IP address, all of those things, and then they forget to switch on the service here, right? The service by default is off. So DHCP service by default, it is off, which means that when you start now, your device's request for IP address, they won't find the DHCP server because the DHCP server service is off. So you start by switching on the DHCP service, and then the pool name, I always try to give maybe the department name or the company name. So I work for a company called Mega Electronics, right? That's my company. All right. And the default gateway 192.168.100, we said the default gateway, it will be the IP address of the router, the one that's taking you out of your own network to other networks. And then we gave it a 254, right? That's a 254. And then the DNS, you remember the DNS server is 168.100.1, right? And then now start IP address is start from 1. Okay, so there's a part whereby you can reserve IP address. Let me start from 10, right? So I reserve IP address from 1 to 9. So reserved for, especially, you can reserve IP addresses for the devices that you don't want the IP address to change. So the from IP address from 1 to 9 will be reserved for my printer, my other devices that I don't want my IP address to change, other servers that I have in my network, right? So just maximum number of users, 254. TPF server, I haven't configured that, but the wireless LAN controller, I do have a wireless LAN controller. So my wireless LAN controller, I want it to be a 9.192.168. Let me say start here from 11. So a 10 will be 100.10. So a 10 will be my wireless LAN controller. All right. So that is done. So I can say save the configurations, right? Say okay. You can see now. If you want, let me maximize that so that you can see. So pool name is mega, and then default gateway 192.168. That's the IP address of the router. DNS IP address of the DNS there. Start IP address start from 11, and then subnet mask. There's the subnet mask. Maximum users 245, and then the wireless LAN controller IP address is 100.10. Cool, I got that running. Now let me start with my wireless LAN controller, and then on my wireless LAN controller, let me do this. I go to configurations. By default, this wireless LAN controller, it is assigned an IP address. It has its own default IP address, right? So I want to change that because now we are running on a .100.1. No, we gave it a 10.10, right? And then also make sure that the subnet mask, you change the subnet mask to 255.255.255.0. Default gateway was 192.168.100.254. What about the DNS server? Was 192.168.100.1. Right, that was a DNS server. All right. So we got that up and running. So this is the management IP address. So this IP address is the one that we're going to use to remotely access. So so we need a computer, right? We need a web browser, we need a computer or a laptop, any laptop that we have in our network to remotely access. That computer must be on the same subnet with this wireless LAN controller so that we can use any browser. It can be a Chrome, can be Firefox, Mozilla, whatever it is, whatever Chrome browser that we're using, then we can use that browser to manage this. So this is the management IP address, the one that we just changed now. But this wireless LAN controller, it comes with its own default management IP address, right? So that's what we have here. So now what I need to do is just close this, and then I move to my PC. I want to assign it an IP address, right? First, so it can say desktop, go to desktop, and then IP configuration. So since the the server is already configured in my network, what I need to do now is I just have to click on DHCP so that the DHCP can automatically issue out or assign an IP address to my PC. So as you can see, I click there and then says requesting IP address, and then my DHCP server responds with an IP address. So IPv4 address there 100.2. I have an IP address, right? So this device is an IP address. So just to test if this device is able to communicate with other devices that we have in our network, I will start with pinging, right? So ping is a command that you use to test connectivity between devices in your network, right? So ping 192.168.100.10. So this is the IP address of the wireless LAN controller. So before I start trying to connect to the wireless LAN controller using my browser, I just have to test connectivity between the two devices. So that's what I'm going through now, right? So there we go. Let's see if the PC and the wireless LAN controller are able to communicate. Yes, you can see there's a response. There is the reply from 192.168.100.10, which is the wireless LAN controller replying to this PC. So there is a connection between the two. They can communicate. So Packet Tracer comes in with its own default browser. We have our browser here, which is a web browser. There's the web browser. So now I have to type in the IP address of the wireless LAN controller. So this is similar to you using your laptop to connect to your wireless LAN controller, right? Using Chrome browser, using Firefox, using Internet Explorer. So you type in the IP address of your wireless LAN controller so that you can be able to access to configure it. 168.100.10. So I'm typing in the IP address of the wireless LAN controller so that I can be able to manage that specific wireless LAN controller. Say go. On Packet Tracer, it usually takes time to respond, so I'm just going to give it some time there. All right, and then down here on the side, we have our router, which is on this interface gig 0/0. And then down here, we have the lightweight access point. So for now, let me do this. You can see my lightweight access point, the interface, the light here, it is red. So I just want to change that to green. So how do we do that? This means that this lightweight access point, it is still off for now. So let me click on it, and then you see here we have like is it like a power plug, right? So this is a power plug, like a charger that you need to connect directly to the lightweight access point so that you can power up this device. It is off now. So this is like similar to you physically picking up a power plug and then connecting it to the lightweight access point. So this is me picking it up and then plug it into that part there. You'll see the color changing. You see it changed color to green, right? And then down here again, I do the same thing. This is the power plug, and then I connect it to my lightweight access point. And then you see the color changing, change to green there. So I'm powering up, like I'm plugging in the power cable to the lightweight access point, right? So you have to do that on the Packet Tracer. Okay, and then I do the same thing with all the lightweight access points that I have. Plug in that device. Okay, you have to release the left click buttons after when you see that it is connected. When you see that arrow there, then you can release the power cable there. All right. Okay, you can see now this on. So now I want to check if I've managed to connect to this wireless LAN controller using my laptop. I told you it takes time. Okay, now we're back, we are live, we're connected. Let's see. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to create an admin username for you as the administrator that's going to be configuring this device, right? So let me say create admin username. So I can say admin, right? And then I can say Cisco. Let me Cisco 123 and see if that will work. Cisco 123. So I'm in, right? I've configured this. I have created a password for this wireless LAN controller. So I must remember my password so that next time when I try to log in, I'll have access to this router. So the username was admin and then password Cisco 123. All right. So at the top here, system name, you say maybe Mega. That's a company name. WLC, which means is the router for this. Is the system name for this company. Okay, again there. All right. Now, country, you can change the country, but on Packet Tracer it doesn't allow us to change the country. We can also change date, but the date is correct, so no need for changing that, and the time is correct. And then time zone, you can change that around here. Where are we? I'm not even sure. Mid-Atlantic, Central Time, US, Central. So where is our time zone? I'm not sure, but just choose any. But yeah, we have that. And then management IP address, which is that IP address of this device, 168.100.10. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. And then down here, the default gateway 192.168.100.254, the IP address of the router. Management ID, which is the VLAN ID. You can just leave this one on 0 for now. But if you are working on different VLANs in your organization, then you can specify here the VLAN that you want to be working on. All right. Okay, I think everything's sorted here. So, and then next, employee network, right? This is the network name. For example, our company name is Mega, right? So that is the Wi-Fi name. And then down here we have the security. We have two types of security, which is WPA2 personal, whereby you would be asked for a passphrase in order for you to gain access to this router, right? And then WPA2 is whereby we're going to need now enterprise. It will ask for things like the authentication server IP address, but for now we don't have like the authentication server IP address. We don't have an authentication server, so we're gonna stick to WPA2 where we just type in the passphrase only. So Cisco 123, Cisco 123, and then VLAN management VLAN, which is fine there, and then say next. So our password is Cisco 123, right? And then virtual IP address, leave it that one fine there. And then I say local mobility, say next. Please confirm settings and apply. So all the settings, I have to confirm my settings first. Username is admin, right? So if you don't want to forget your username, you can just take a screenshot of this just to remember. But your password, just remember your password so that this device won't lock you out, right? So just need to remember your password. So my username is admin there, and then it's fine. What else do I need to change? So the network name, you can see it's Mega, and then the security WPA2, and then the password I think is Cisco 123. All right, TCP server address is not there. Why the TCP server address is not there? Let me go back. I didn't, but it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, it's fine. I don't need the TCP server for now because he already is. Okay, let me confirm the changes now. Let me say apply. System will reboot after these settings are applied. Click OK to apply these settings. Okay, so it's fine. So the system will reboot. So I'm gonna leave the system to go through the rebooting system, right? So here you the rebooting process. So here you can see I have different. So I want to hover here. So it says the IP, you can see the IP address of this gigabit Ethernet. There's an IP address there. And then there's a part that says CAPE WAP status not connected. That CAPE WAP is the love language of these devices, right? So the wireless LAN controller, what it does is instead of us manually configuring these lightweight access points, we said, remember we said these lightweight access points are the ones that we're going to add on different flows so that people that are on flow number one, they can get access to internet to the Wi-Fi, right? So we add that lightweight access point on floor number one, and then the second lightweight access point maybe goes to second floor, the third one goes to third floor, and stuff like that. So instead of us manually configuring all of these lightweight access point, what we do is we only configure the wireless LAN controller, and then the wireless LAN controller, it is the one that controls this lightweight access point. So the wireless LAN controller communicates with the lightweight access points, and then the lightweight access points, they are programmed or designed to receive instruction coming from the wireless LAN controller. So the wireless LAN controller will send instruction to the lightweight access point, and then they receive that. So the way that they communicate or they receive instruction, they receive that instruction using the CAPE WAP. So once the CAPE WAP status is configured, is ready, you will see that these guys will receive. As you can see now, it says CAPE WAP status connected to 192.168.100.10, meaning that's the IP address of the wireless LAN controller. So the CAPE WAP status is connected now, meaning that they have received instruction coming from the wireless LAN controller. So all of the configurations that we apply to this wireless LAN controller, they are now on this part now, right? So let me check again. So let me say cancel that part, and then I do go back to the web browser. I just want to access my wireless LAN controller again. But the second time, when now going through to the wireless LAN controller, you have to make sure that it's an HTTP, right? So HTTPS, I mean, because the first one was HTTP. So let me say 192.168.100.10. So receiver reset connection, right? So because it's not HTTPS, so HTTPS S is for security, right? So HTTP, it uses port 80, which means the communication between your computer and then the wireless LAN controller is not secure. HTTPS, it adds security, right? Secure socket, right? It adds that security. So now we have, when we're connecting for the second time, as you can see, you need to type in HTTPS there, and then ask you for the username, which was admin, and then ask me for my password, Cisco 123, and then I say login. So if the password is correct and the username is correct, then this device has to give me access to the platform that I was on before. You can see now I am back on the wireless LAN controller. So this wireless LAN controller now, this part is for monitoring, right? Monitoring what exactly? Monitoring how many access points that are connected to this. Because sometimes in your network, you might find that you have a rogue access point, which rogue access point is an access point that doesn't belong to you. Maybe it's for an intruder who's trying to intercept your packets, trying to intercept your communications in your network, in your environment. So you can see here it says rogue summary, meaning that the active rogue access points, the one that we didn't add, it will pick them up and then add them here. Active rogue clients, clients is your end devices, right? Add rogues, they're not there. Rogues and wired network, there's nothing there. So all of the devices that are connected to this wireless LAN controller are the devices that are supposed to be part of this network. And then down here we have it shows you how many lightweight access points. So it picks up, and this is a summary of the access points that we have in our network. Access point summary, there it is, right? We have that access point summary, which is like your there is three. So three devices are connected to this network, three access points. And then that's the information that we have there, right? WLANs. So let me move to the WLANs, wireless LAN control network. Let me see if it shows me. You see, there is the profile name, which is Mega, and then WLAN SSID, which is the Wi-Fi name, and then admin status is enabled. If you want to remove it, you can remove this specific WLAN, right? So we only have one. So if you want to create the guest, you want to create more, you can do that. And then controller, let me see what I have on controller. So you can do everything like the security, management, all of that information. Controller, make a WLC. If you want to change all of these security controls, you can change everything here. And then wireless, let's see what we have on this tab. So this is a cool device. This is a cool wireless LAN controller. You can see the IP addresses of all of the wireless LAN controllers that we have. Lightweight access point number 1 is on 5, and then second one is on number 3, third one is on number 4. Okay, 012 is on number 4. There you can see, and then AP model shows you the model, right? And then MAC address of those devices. And then AP uptime, how long they've been up for. You can see there, admin status enabled, operational status regular, that's the range there. And then the speed, 100 MB per second. So these guys are going to be receiving the maximum speed is 100 MB. So if you want speed higher than this, then that means we have to change the devices that we use. We change the cables that we use to be maybe 1000 MB per second, of which now is only on the fast Ethernet, which is 100 MB per second, right? All right, let me see what I have this side. Security. So IP addresses. Come on, drop down. Okay, I'll come back to this part now. I just want to go back to, I want to start with this, right? So let me check if all of these, they have received communication from the wireless LAN controller. As you can see, CAP WAP status connected to 192.168.100.10. There is connected, right? And then at the top there, again, let me check if it's connected. There it is connected. 192.168.3 is connected. CAP WAP status connected. As you can see, providing WLANs, it says Mega. So the Wi-Fi name or the SSID name is Mega. So now let's come to these devices. These devices need to connect to this network, to this wireless LAN controller network, right? So let me start with the tablet, right? I'm on the tablet there, and then let me show you what happens here. Config, right? Maybe let's say wireless there. I'm clicking on wireless because we want to connect to this network using wireless. And then first thing is starting asking us for the SSID. The SSID is the Wi-Fi name, right? It stands for Service Site Identifier. So our Wi-Fi name is Mega. And then authentication part we chose, there was WPA2 PSK passphrase, and then WPA2 PSK, and then there was another one for enterprise, right? So let me go for WPA2 PSK passphrase. And then our password was Cisco 123, right? So this device now, it's like you coming to advanced. You can see that magic happens there, right? So it now shows that this device is managed to connect to our network, to our network using wireless, directly connected there, right? So it's like you going to any at your organization, right? And then they say there's a Wi-Fi name, there's a Wi-Fi. So they give you see the SSID appearing, right? They tell you, okay, the organization's Wi-Fi name is Mega, right? And then here's the password. The administrator gives you the password. There you type in the password Cisco123, and then boom, the device automatically connects there. And then now the laptop. Let's see if the laptop manages to connect there. Let's say desktop, and then where is that part for the wireless? This part, it must have a wireless config. Let me see if we have wireless here. Ta-da-da-da-da. Bluetooth, fast Ethernet. Okay, I'll come back, but config is supposed to have the wireless somewhere here. Okay, I'll come back to the laptop. Let me start with the phone. Let me check the phone if it has that information. So I go on my phone, I check here on my config, and then there is wireless there on config, and then the default. So let me check, change Mega SSID, and then WPA2 passphrase was Cisco123. And then you see this device is supposed to automatically connect to our network if everything is working fine. Connect, wait for the magic. Boom, there it connects. So basically what happens is, let's say this guy is on first floor, right? And then this lightweight access point is on first floor. So this phone will directly connect to this lightweight access point. And then if they move away from this device and then they are now on the second floor, this device now will move and connect to the lightweight access point that is closer to it, which will be this lightweight access point. If they move to the third floor, this device disconnects from this and then stop beaconing or stop searching for Wi-Fi, and then it connects to the closest one, which will be this one. And then if, let's say, this one fails, and then we still have this one here, it will connect to that one. Let me show you that quickly. Let me configure this one, and then I'll get to my laptop. I forgot where to find my wireless on my laptop there. SSID Mega, and then down here, WPA2. So what we have here, we have the Cisco123, and then that's it. And then wait for the magic to happen. Boom, it connects. But why are they all connecting to the one wireless access point? All right, okay, I'll show you what happens there. Maybe that's the closest one. Okay, let me config. Come on, where is that? I don't want the Bluetooth. I want the, unless if I have to add wireless card to this. Let me check if there is a wireless card that needs to be added there. So 34G, let me see. So let me zoom in. Let me see. Wireless interface. Okay, let me check on the config if I have wireless interface edit. No. Nah. Okay, I forgot that part, how to add this here. Okay, let me just hold this one out. Cannot remove when the power is on. So it's not word swappable. Switch off the device, and then maybe I take out this card, and then let me add wireless access point here. Okay, wireless access point, and then switch on the device back, and then switch it on because the card isn't word swappable, and then move to config. Okay, there we have wireless there. All right, cool. And then say Mega, and then WPA2, and then we say Cisco 123. So on a real environment, right, on your organizational network, your laptops will come in with the wireless card already installed there, right? So already they will have like the wireless card in them. So no need to do this, right? It's just only on the packet tracer where we need to add the wireless card. So you can see they all now connected, but they're connected to one device. So maybe they're close to this device. So let me cut this interface to see if they'll be able to connect to other wireless access points. Let me just disconnect that. No, cancel. So I just want to disconnect this cable. Let's say this cable. So they must be able to switch to these other two lightweight access points. You see, there's those two. They've quickly picked up these two access point. So now that means my network. I remember last time I was talking to one of my groups, the class that I have, right? I said to them when we're building network, right? We need to build a reliable network. What does that mean when we talk about a reliable network? The reliable network, it is like four factors that need to come into play, which is fault tolerance. So your network must be fault tolerant. Like if this one lightweight access point fails, the users mustn't feel that there was any breakdown on the network or there was any network failure. They must continue because of fault tolerance. And then the second one was the QoS, quality of service. If you're building a reliable network, these are the factors that need to come into play. The fault tolerance, QoS, quality of service, and then we spoke about security. We said your network must be secure, right? So you can see the wireless LAN controller, I can use it to control who has access to my network. I can use it to check rogue access points. So I have my network is secure. I can see what's happening in my network. If I want to add other devices that can give me more controls when it comes to securing my network, then I can do that, right? So basically now this is the network that I have. So I've configured all of this, right? So now, if I plug in my device, if I connect my device again, so let's say, let me plug in my device, right? You can see, and then, so fault tolerance, QoS, security, and you're going to hear about things like redundancy, load balancing when it comes to networking, right? When you're building your own network. So, okay, so these guys can communicate internally. So now I don't have, the router is not configured yet. Let me configure my router and see how that will work out for me now. Let me say no, say enable, config T. So I have config T there. So now I assign an IP address to this interface, to this router. So interface, come on, only if I can spell interface G0/0, and then IP address 192.168.100.254, and then 255.255.255.0, and then no shut. I'm switching on that interface, right? So it has an IP address now, you can see. So now we have the router configured in our network. So before I close this, like, let me just also add another important device which has been added by Cisco on this network packet tracer. It wasn't there on version 7.0 and 6.0. They added it on 8.0. So let me check if I have that end device, which is called, the device is called a network controller. So the network controller, the main use of the network controller, it picks up, you can use the network controller to monitor your network, right? How many devices are on your network. I can show you all the devices that are connected, the health of your network devices, so you can monitor that. So let me just add this device to my network. All right. So there it is. All right, let me, so config, this controller comes with its own management, so access enabled. Okay, that part must be enabled. Okay, there's another part that I need to enable somewhere here. Show viewport or options somewhere here. Preferences, and then under preferences there's miscellaneous, whereby enable external network all scripts. Yes, I have to enable that for the network controller to be active. All right. So let me see now. Click on it and then go to controller. Enable this part. You can see now it's enabled. I can enable that part. It was grayed out before. All right. So what's the IP address? I'm connected to this gigabit Ethernet. So assign IP address to this IPv4. Okay, let me just cut it now, and then I'm going to do a video on how to add a network controller in your network. So this training was all about the wireless LAN controller. Thank you guys for joining me. So I'm not going to edit this, like it was a live recording, so I'm just going to drop it on YouTube, upload it on YouTube as it is, right? So no need for me to just edit it, like no need for edit. I want to drop it as raw as it is. Okay.